Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, we would be covering the topic post-shipment finance. This video is part of playlist uploaded on International Trade Finance. I would like to request you to kindly go through the playlist. Many other videos are already uploaded which would give you a broader understanding about this whole course. If you like the video, do hit the like button and do not forget to subscribe to my channel. Now let's start with this one. We have already discussed in our video on pre-shipment finance that export finance has been classified broadly into two categories, pre-shipment and post-shipment. So here we will be discussing about our post-shipment finance. Now let's start with understanding the meaning of post-shipment finance. It is a kind of loan provided to the exporter by a financial institution or bank after shipment of goods till realization of payment. Now I am telling you in context of previous video because in order to understand the post-shipment finance, you need to have a link with the previous video as well. So we talked about how exporter can be in the need of the fund. There we were talking about before shipping the goods, if the fund is required and the exporter needs the fund to do the manufacturing process, the production process, pre-shipment is provided. Now in this case, the shipment of goods is done. Okay. So just again take an example. There is an exporter based in India who needs to ship the goods to US market. Now that exporter has already shipped the goods as per the sales contract. Here we are talking about the sales contract on credit basis. So we understand credit basis at this point of time after going through all those videos. Whenever we are getting instant payment for the goods that we buy, that is called cash payment. And whenever we are taking some time period for the payment realization or getting the payment for our goods, that is called credit basis. So we are talking about the sales contract or transaction on credit basis. Suppose you are an exporter based on India, you have shipped the goods, your sales contract was on credit basis. So buyer is saying that he would be making you payment after 180 days. Now your goods has been shipped. You will be getting the payment for your goods after 180 days. So you need to manage the working capital during that time period. There are many other business process going on in between and you might need the funds at that point of time. You might not want to delay the funds to be get from the buyer. You might lose on opportunities in the market. So post-shipment finance is provided by financial institution or banks as a solution to the exporter to manage their working capital after shipment of the goods till realization of the payment. I hope this point is clear. In credit transaction like document against acceptance and usance LC, already we have discussed about LC and document against acceptance. You can just understand that these both are the credit transactions where payment is made after a fixed tenure. This fixed tenure could be 60 days, 90 days, 180 days as per the sales contract. So the buyer is saying that I'll be making you payment after this time period. So to meet the shortage of working capital during this time period, exporter needs fund. That is what we already discussed, and to not lose out on any market opportunities. So banks are providing with a solution of this post-shipment finance. Now post-shipment finance is made available only on submission of the goods shipment documents. So it's not like that exporter will just go to the bank or the financial institution will say that he has already shipped the goods and now he want to get funds to manage the working capital. He has to show some proof that the goods has been shipped. So that's why we are talking about the goods shipment documents. We would be covering in the upcoming slide about the goods shipment documents, what all documents are checked by the banks before providing the post-shipment finance. So exporter can receive post-shipment credit in both INR or in foreign currencies. So again I am repeating, I have already mentioned in this prior video as well of pre-shipment finance that exporter is provided with the option of getting the funds both in the Indian rupees or in the foreign currency, because here we are talking about foreign based transaction, international trade transactions So many exporters, they maintain their account in foreign currency as well, which is known as Exchange Earners Foreign Currency Account, that is EEFC account. So if they want, they can also avail loan in foreign currency. So they can get the loan in foreign currency as soon as they receive the payment in their EEFC account, which again is in the foreign currency. So let's just take an example to make it simpler for you. So like you are the exporter, you are shipping the goods, you are making transaction with US market. So you want to most of the transaction that is happening, it is in US currency, that is dollar. So you are getting the payment in US dollars. So you asked your bank that please open my account in that particular currency. Every time I do not need to convert my funds. Once in a while I'll be converting and utilizing the funds. So till then, please open an account in foreign currency and maintain all my payment that I am receiving in US dollar in that particular account. So EEFC account is opened for the seller or the exporter. That EEFC account will be in USD. So every time the seller will be getting the payment, it is credited in that particular account. Now the seller wants to take this loan called post-shipment finance loan. The seller is asking to provide the loan in foreign currency only, that is USD. So this post-shipment fund is provided in USD only. Now, whenever the seller will be getting the funds from the buyer, which is based in US, in EFC account, that is in USD currency, he can use that fund to close his loan account which he took, because the loan was also provided in USD. It can be easily wiped off. So this is for the convenience of currency conversion and also for the seller. Let's have a look at this post-shipment finance flow chart. This will make things more clear to you. So suppose there is an importer, there is an exporter who is based in India as per our example, and the importer based in US. Both of them have made a sales contract between them on credit basis. Credit basis, which means that the seller will be receiving the payment after certain time period. So first of all, the sales contract is made on credit basis. Second, what happens that exporter has manufactured the goods and has shipped the goods to the buyer. So shipment of goods is done to the buyer. As per their contract, payment will be received after 6 months. So importer or buyer will be making the payment after 6 months to the seller. Now seller do not want to lose on market opportunities and also want to manage the working capital of the business. So the exporter or the seller will go to bank or any financial institution and will ask for post-shipment finance. Now, exporter has to provide shipment documents to the bank as a proof that the goods shipment has been done. After checking all the documents and checking about the credibility of the seller, the bank will be providing the post-shipment fund to the exporter or the seller. Now, on realization of payment, account is debited for principal or interest. When will be the realization of payment? On the due date for which the post-shipment fund is provided or the loan is provided. So, there would be certain due date that on this day you have to repay your loan. What would be that time period? It would be only after the fund is received from the buyer. So there is certain time period which is based on all these agreements and contract that would be decided, and this post-shipment finance or loan will be provided to the seller, and when the payment will be received from the buyer, the realization of payment will be done by the bank by debiting the seller's account for principal as well as the interest that is charged for the loan given. Scrutiny of export document. Bank has to make sure to scrutinize the export documents to check the genuinity of the transactions, as the document serves as a proof that a particular transaction has taken place. Now here are some of the examples of the documents which are involved in this trade transaction. So first one is bill of exchange. Now bill of exchange serves as a demand draft of payment by seller to the buyer. Second is shipping bill. Shipping bill is generated by customs as a proof that shipment has been done and the goods are shipped out of India. Third is commercial invoice. Commercial invoice is nothing but just as a bill which is raised by the seller to the buyer, which would be mentioning the payment that has to be made. Transport documents. Transport documents, for example, bill of lading. If the goods are being shipped through sea route, there is this transport document generated which is called as bill of lading. So transport documents need to be submitted as a proof that the goods has been shipped by a particular transportation mode, maybe through air, maybe through sea. Then there is packing list, which mentions the quantity of the goods, what all commodities are there. Then there would be weight list, which would be mentioning the weight of the particular commodity or the goods that is being shipped. Then there is certificate of origin, which shows that the goods are being shipped from India as a country of origin. Also, the country of destination would be mentioned. Health or inspection certificate. So, health certificates that the goods are as per the health criteria set by the health criteria set, and it fulfills all the checking and the terms and conditions. Insurance certificates that the goods inspection certificate that the goods has been inspected by third party or agency and that the goods meet certain standards. It can be shipped and it is not below the quality which is mentioned. Any other document which is mentioned as per letter of credit. So all these documents need to be submitted by the exporter before availing the loan from the bank. Bank will be cross-checking the documents, will be seeing if the documents are properly as per the guidelines, and then will make the decision to provide the loan. Let's have a look at the disbursement procedure of post-shipment finance or loan given to the exporter. First one is that exporter should be a regular customer so that the bank could have certain level of reliability on the customer. Exporter should be having IE code. IE code is importer exporter code, which is 10-digit alphanumeric code that is issued on the basis of the PAN of the business entity. So if the exporter is genuine, if he is having a established business in the country, he must be having IE code, which is issued by DGFT, that is Directorate General of Foreign Trade. IE code is mandatory, and without having IE code, any foreign trade transaction cannot take place. So this is mandatory document and it is checked by bank also. Exporter should not be in caution listing of RBI. What is caution listing? If shipping bills remain outstanding for more than 2 years, RBI has provision to caution list the exporter. Now, why it is done and what does it mean? So, whenever the goods are shipped out of India through the customs, shipping bill is generated. That shipping bill is lost on the system and the data flows to the RBI. Now, RBI keeps an eye that whenever the payment will become, these shipping bills that are lost on the system, these should be closed with that payment and the transaction will be complete. But what if the payment is not received? Goods were shipped out of India, but the payment is not received and the shipping bills are not closed. So, the caution listing will be done to the particular exporter. Exporter has to give a proper explanation before the time period, before 2 years, that why the payment was not received for any reason. If the goods are shipped out of India, payment must have come. So, by any chance, if the exporter is trying to play smart, and the goods are shipped, the payment is received by the exporter, but the exporter has not submitted the proof of the payment to the bank to close the bill, to close that particular shipping bill. RBI will come to know and the caution listing of that particular exporter will be done. So this is just to safeguard the interest of the trade transactions. Second is limits shall be sanctioned, mentioning the total amount, rate of interest, tenure, margin. So first of all, what we did as a bank, we checked whether the customer is genuine, whether the customer is having proper IE code in the place, and that the customer is not caution listed by RBI. After that, we will check out for what transaction is happening. We will ask the details about it as a bank, and then sanction limit will be provided. What all things will be mentioned in the sanction limit? So the total amount for which the limit is being granted, the rate of interest that will be charged for the loan, the tenure for which the limit is being sanctioned, and the margin that would be kept. So this all things should be mentioned in the sanction limit created. Then these are the part of bank procedure, what the bank need to do. What exactly you as an exporter or seller has to do? You have to fill this application form. It should be duly filed, it should be signed. In that application form, certain things will be mentioned: buyer's name, buyer's address, buyer's country, the commodity which is involved in the transaction, buyer's bank. If any if any pre-shipment finance has already been taken, if any packing credit limit has already been taken, it should be mentioned. If any advance remittance has been done, that before the shipment of goods the payment was done, if payment was done by the buyer, so if any kind of advance remittance has been taken by the seller, that should be mentioned. Then export documents need to be submitted, like the bill of lading, BOE or draft, certificate of origin, insurance policy, invoices, shipping bills, and all should be submitted in original. Importer shall not be located in country listed in sanction list by US, UK or UN. If buyer is located in restricted cover countries, special ECGC permission is required. Now see, what all are the sanction listed countries? So there are certain countries where the civil condition, economical condition, political condition goes through a lot of instability, and there are things that are unethical and illegal going on. So those countries are sanction listed by United States, UK and UN together, and any country should not be involved with those countries in any form or any trade transaction. So you need to understand, as a bank you need to check that whether the transaction that is happening, any of the country or the bias country should not be in the sanction list. So some of the countries, for example, in sanction listed, which are sanction listed, are Cuba, Sudan, North Korea, Syria, etc. Now in the similar way, there are certain restricted cover countries. Now these countries are with high political risk, like the Armenia, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan. These are placed in restricted cover countries because of their political instability. Now, in certain cases, export transactions can be allowed to restricted cover countries by taking special ECGC permission, which is export credit guarantee cover permission. But in any case, transaction with sanction listed countries are not allowed. Now let's talk about types of post shipment finance. So first one is export bills purchased or discounted. So what happened, that exporter has shipped the goods and export documents are generated. In that document also there is invoice which mentions the amount that has to be received from the buyer after certain time period. So what exporter does, it just comes to the bank and asks for discounting of the bill. Discounting or purchasing of the bill means you keep this bill and provide me certain funds according to the value of this invoice generated, value of the bill generated. So export bills are discounted at certain rate of interest and funds are provided to the seller. Export bills negotiated. If the same bills are under LC, it is mentioned as negotiation. So after negotiating the export bills, the funds are provided. Advance against export bills on collection basis. So in certain cases it can happen that the exporter has directly sent the documents to the buyer for collection of the payments. In this case, banks may provide advance until the transit period. So it will take time for the documents to reach there and then get the payment. So in between that transit period, advance could be provided to the exporter. Then there is advance against export on consignment basis. Banks also extend post-shipment credit against export made on consignment. Consignment means that the exporter or the seller has shipped the goods to an agent who will be further selling it to the ultimate buyer or the importer. So, against this also advance can be granted by the bank to the seller. Advance against undrawn balance on export. In some cases, what happens, seller leaves a small portion of invoice value undrawn for final adjustments. So, banks can also provide advance for that undrawn balance. Advance against receivables from Government of India. So, banks offer credit against duty drawback receivables. Now, government provide many incentives to the seller that are involved in the trade transaction to boost up the global trade, to boost up the international trade, and these incentives provided are known as duty drawbacks or receivables from the government. So, exporter can also show that I'll be receiving this much of fund or incentive from the government. You please provide me advance against these, and whenever the fund will be coming, you can utilize your loan along with the interest rate from that. So advances are provided in all these cases, and rate is charged. Interest rate, as I said, that in disbursement procedure, interest rate is mentioned which is to be charged to the exporter. The tenure is mentioned after which the payment will be realized or the loan will be realized along with principal and interest payment. All the terms and conditions are mentioned. Features of post-shipment finance. So first is purpose of finance. Finance export sales receivable after shipment date till payment realization. So what exactly is the purpose of this particular loan which is being provided? So it is a kind of financing for export sales receivable, that the goods shipment has been done, payment will be realized after certain time period. So for that time period, funding is being provided. Basis of finance. It is provided against evidence of shipment of goods to the importer. So there should be certain evidence that the goods are shipped to the importer or the agency, and on that basis, on the basis of the documents serving as evidence, the fund is provided. Form of finance. This kind of a loan or fund provided is normally self-liquidating, because as soon as the funds will be received from the government in form of duty drawback or from the buyer or the importer, whenever the fund will be received after the certain tenure which was mentioned as per sales contract, and the same as it was mentioned before providing the loan, so it would be self liquidating as soon as the fund will be received in the seller's account. It can be both secured or unsecured. Quantum of finance. For this particular loan, up to 100% of the invoice value of goods, the loan can be provided. Period of finance. Generally, the realization period is 9 months from the date of export. So, before 9 months, it need to be realized, the loan need to be wiped off. Thank you for watching. I hope this video was useful. Thank you so much. Kindly keep up the support on channel. Thanks.